Hello, HausMates, and welcome to HausCall number 3, our weekly, sort of weekly, digest thing where we talk to you about what we have done in the previous week since the last time we talked to you, and what we are going to do before the next time we have one of these again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Weeklish.
as usual, what?
Weeklish.
Weeklish, yes.
Whoa, what happened? Your face just caught on fire.
I'm switching to look at the document.
Oh yes,
we
we
have
make
our
it.
notes.
We plan these out. I know they may look smooth and impromptu, ad hoc even, but we carefully plot the course of
We have
every
all
house
sorts
call.
of effects. So I can do a fade to darkness.
Yeah, and I can actually disappear. Still here, guys. I know you were fooled.
I mean, we could get really high tech. You want to see something really weird? This is what we can do.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Demon Lethe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's
So.
Oh, guys. Oh.
Okay.
No, seriously, welcome back.
Yeah. So we have some things to talk about.
Per usual.
Yeah, per usual. So you will have watched, I hope, the 12-hour, more than 12-hour, around 12-hour Darkest Dungeon launch live stream. And we'll talk a little bit about Darkest Dungeon later. We did that. Subsequently, will we have another Monday live stream this coming Monday? Is that a plan? Or are we waiting to do another big live stream until the biggest on February 5th?
Let's no. How about no this time? I need to focus on finishing up the advent calendar
So that's
items.
a no to a live stream this coming week, a sort of a long one. However, Phwop is doing smaller ones.
That's true. I've been doing
semi-Dalish.
Dalish.
Wait, that's the name of elves in Dragon Age. That won't work.
God, racist. Yeah, I started a new series. It is experimental game nouveau. It's I Live. Oh no, it's I Live.
I thought you said you weren't going to say it.
I couldn't remember what it was called. Anyway, you'll see it. And I will be on it. I will be producing episodes semi-randomly, and I won't be talking about it much, but I will be live streaming it fairly regularly because I really enjoy creating it. So
you have to tell them what game it is.
Huh?
I don't think you said what game it was.
Oh, it's The Long Dark. You're right, I did not. I thought you might have when you talked about it, but then I forgot. Anyway, I love playing it, and so whenever I do, on certain, I'll just tune in to live streaming it, and then you guys can tune in to that.
So that's one thing that's coming up and has already kind of started to happen.
That's true.
Other things. So we are eagerly awaiting various things in Heroes of the Storm.
Boom. So
of course, the thing we are most awaiting and what we want to know is where is Speslioric?
Right.
I mean, we were promised outer space skeleton man, and we haven't seen it yet.
No delivery.
Now, of course, there are other things coming. Maybe you're interested in these, maybe you're not. 2 new characters. They're both Diablo characters, so maybe these things will all be launched at once whenever they're launched because they're all Diablo stuff. We have from D3 the Wizard in the female model. I don't know what their name is going to be. And probably by popular demand, a Necromancer from D2. I think that it's going to be a male model because in Diablo 2 there wasn't a gender choice for characters. Each class was a particular gender. So he will be the Diablo 2 Necromancer, and I think they've given him what seemed to, if I remember correctly, a Chinese-sounding name. So I think both of them will be sort of culturally Asian, or from the Asia place in Sanctuary.
Mm-mm.
I can't remember what that's called.
The Sanctuary of Orient.
No, they probably don't call it that.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are coming up.
That's exciting because the wizard always has super cool abilities.
Yeah. So off the top of my head, there are articles about this out already. It's not that we've got secret information. It's the D3 wizard will be an arcane version of the wizard. So she will have magic missile. She will have arcane orb. Her her trait will be kills reduce cooldowns, and she will have a teleport ability which has a short cooldown anyway. So she'll be blinking all over the map. Apparently, a high skill cap type character.
Awesome.
The ultimates I don't remember off the top of my head. One of them I think is Wave of Force, and the other one I don't remember. The Necromancer is going to be sort of a debuff causing character largely, also with some damage, some poison type stuff as you'd expect given the way the character was built in Diablo 2. I think his trait will be raising skeletons from dead minions, something to that effect. He will also come with each character has a Q, W, D, and E ability, and then as they acquire talents, they will get 1, 2, 3, 4 abilities. The Necromancer starts with a 1 ability, which is a Bone Shield.
Okay. Maybe he'll get Bone Prison.
That is, in fact, one of the ultimates, I believe. And then the other one is Poison Nova.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, corpse explosion. Talking about.
So who knows? They both. The wizard sounds particularly intriguing to me. The Necromancer, I like the Necromancer character concept and model as it was fleshed out in the games. I don't know about how it's going to play out as a Heroes of the Storm character. As speculations, I would guess Necromancer is specialist, wizard is assassin, like every other wizard that's in the game.
Yep, that makes the most sense to me. Teleporting is mostly useful for assassins. I mean, it's great for everyone to be able to teleport, but specialists, I mean, it depends on how they're built.
Yeah. So that's exciting, and I hope Raymond was released 2 weeks ago.
Oh, geez. I think or I don't know. I lose track. Every time I do a live stream, it sets me back like.
So I believe it was 2 weeks ago. Well, actually, didn't we talk about him being released? Yeah, we talked about him being released in HausCall 2. So it couldn't have been that long ago.
Okay. So it wasn't. I think it's early last week.
Yeah. So it's going to mean that we won't see these characters, both or one, probably for 3 more weeks at least. That's the schedule they seem to go on. Is every 4 or so weeks you get big new releases of characters or maps and things like that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and you'll note in our BleakHaus plays of Heroes of the Storm that I am terrible at this game, which is unfortunate.
Are not great.
No, it's.
Which is why we've brought Eskimo on board to tutor us and show you the way that you should play, while we serve as the negative role models of things that you should not do.
That's true. Learn from our mistakes. HausMates, please.
Yeah, and so the most recent Here's the Storm collaborative video we put up, I published today. It is entitled Salty Poop, and if you watch to mostly all the way through the end of the video, you will understand why. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Yeah, okay, no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
The salty poop. So, also, if you've been watching my channel, I have finished my Ori and the Blind Forest playthrough, and Space Food Truck is going up. I've heard I sound quite tired in it. I was playing it kind of late when I recorded it, and yeah, I do quite enjoy that game, and I am looking for multiplayer people to play with. So if any of you happen to have Space Food Truck or want to play and $18 to spare for a Steam game, it's a good game. It's still in early access. They just added in difficulty levels, and I would really enjoy playing with some of you guys and putting that up on our BleakHaus channel. Also, let's see. Oh, good news. So if you played a little gem called Space Pirates and Zombies, or Spaz, it came out maybe 2 years ago, I'm feeling. It was an awesome top-down, like fly around in space, like a kind of simplified escape velocity Nova kind of thing, and you could like build up a fleet. You had this big mothership, and you could fly any of the particular ships that you built, and it was awesome because you could crack open space stations and all the science would leak out, and you could blow up other ships, and once you killed enough of one ship you could build those types of things, and it was a really good small game by MinMax Studios. So I was thinking about how much I love that game and how much I'm looking forward to Space Pirates and Zombies 2, which goes from like top down to 3D.
Is that what 3D is?
That's 3D. Top down, 3D. I should go forwards. And it's got everything you can want. It's like 200 other captains with all of your abilities pursuing their own agenda across massive regions of space, all with like universe-wide galactic events that are going to happen on a timer, whether you're ready or not. And it's just a living world that reacts and plans stuff. And it already was in Space Pirates and Zombies 1, but in 2 it looks so much more intense. And you can like connect pieces to your ship on the fly after ramming through other ships. It's nuts looking. And I was thinking about how much I look forward to that, and I went ahead and sent a Facebook message to MinMax Studios that saying I'd love to preview it, and they were like, yeah, we will send you a Steam key as soon as it goes on early access. So we're going to get a free copy of Space Pirates and Zombies 2, and I will be covering that whenever it comes out sometime this year. So just super stoked. Also, exciting news on the XCOM 2 front. I talked about it in my last Advent calendar, but it is that the Long War Studios, which is the team who created the Long War mod, are making mods for XCOM 2's launch. They've been in a non-disclosure agreement up until like 2 days ago, yesterday, I can't remember. And they are, it was just announced that the people who made Long War, which is the most iconic and famous mod for XCOM 2012, are making mods for launch day for XCOM 2, which is really, really exciting because you'll know whatever they did, it's going to be super hardcore. I may even skip playing it the normal way and just go straight Long War because, yeah. And I'm good friends with Johnny, so that was awesome because I got to congratulate him in person on Facebook.
That's not what in person means.
Yeah,
You've been on the internet too long.
Thanks for saying it for me. What else? Massive snowstorm coming into our Philadelphia area.
Or so we are told. I'll believe it when I'm covered in snow and dying.
Yeah. Is this your first Noreaster, Lethe?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so they have similar types of phenomenon where, so I lived in Scotland for a while. You don't get lots of snow, but you get that sort of nasty backlash of wind and wetness off of the ocean up there. But yeah, if there is indeed more than a foot of snow, it will by, 4 times or so be the most snow I've ever seen, probably.
Huh. Interesting. Wait, what about Geneva?
There was snow there once during the year that I lived there. So Geneva's pretty far south in Europe. Oh. It is cold in the winter because stuff comes in off the Alps. And it was pretty cold and windy, and there was some snow, but it wasn't that deep.
Huh. Yeah, I've seen 18 inches a couple of years ago, 3 maybe, up here. I don't know that I've seen 2 feet, if that is to be believed. And the funny thing, I always get confused about nor'easters because the storm's coming up from the south, right? But it's
the circulation of the low pressure, which brings the nastiness off from the northeast.
Yeah, so nor'easters have winds blowing in both directions, northeast and southwest, and that's what always confuses me. I'm like, wait, didn't the last one actually come in from the north and head south? And they're like, yeah, also a nor'easter, and I'm like, what? These people are crazy.
No, you have to have a little meteorological knowledge.
That's true. Yes. Yes. Oh, good times.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you never hear from us again, it's because we died in the bleakest way we can think of, going along with the characters in the long dark by freezing to death.
Yep. Yep. Know that we said something cool as our last words.
Cool.
Our last 2 words were cool words. Any
Frozen.
2, as long as they were frozen. Also, so Noragami season 2. I'm just gonna say this. I started watching an anime. Oh, I think we lost Lethe. The expression on his face is priceless. So I'm gonna bigonify my own face. You're welcome. So until he gets back, because I didn't want to steal thunder from one of the other things that we're going to talk about. But if you haven't watched an anime, I have a good list of animes I'm going to go through at some point, but recently started watching Noragami Season 2. Noragami Season 1 was good, in parts funny and in parts serious, but it didn't really build up to too much, like, really huge plot-wise. And I was really excited to hear there was a second season and that it mostly, that it was supposed to, like, really kick ass. Started watching it. The first 6 episodes could have been a whole 2 seasons of other animes. Like, it was amazing. It was so
back.
good. Yes, you're back. I just talked about Noragami until you got here. Anyway, check it out. You should check out Noragami. Noragami. It's about a delivery god who will do anything for 5 yen, which is not much money.
No.
Nope. But he just needs worship that badly. Down on his luck god of calamity. So, I suppose the last bit of business might be the Darkest Dungeon Repote giveaway. So, maybe you've all been waiting for this. Maybe you forgot. But we did have 3 clear winners of the Darkest Dungeon Repartee giveaway. We did give a copy of Darkest Dungeon away to Richard Poole, a longtime viewer of my old channel and our current channel channels. And we promised we would give it a shot, and you may get more than you bargained for, Richard. Also, I would say second place went to Akis Zagraphos, if I'm saying that correctly, and Lawrence Riddle came in third. So we're gonna go a couple of rounds of of narration here.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick it off, Lethe?
All right, let's see here. So this is Richard Poole's. Bivouacked, camaraderie stoked as the embers of a comforting campfire.
So that won first place with 8 likes, 8 whole likes, guys.
Yeah.
Boom. And I will say it was a pretty popular video for us, which is, I guess, kind of sad, but it did get a lot of views, and we're glad people participated. Someone even was like, on Reddit, they were like, hey, someone could be cheating to win this game. They might. And I was like, I think we'll just wait and see. If it looks suspicious, we'll do it. He's like, I think you should pick based on what you think, not likes. And I was like, maybe. So
it didn't come to that.
No, it did. Fortunately, it seemed pretty realistic.
Our viewers are an honorable sort of.
We would have known if something got like 20 likes, like an outrageous amount.
We were like,
something
wait,
was terribly wrong.
It.
No, we there's only 112 views. Yeah. How could you get 200 likes? But why don't you go through all of them? So.
All right. Second, we have the entry from Akis Zagraphos. Oh, and incidentally, the Richard Poole's is the trigger condition, because that was part of the competition, was when camping, obviously.
Yeah.
Second one is triggered when every enemy in a dungeon is annihilated. So that's a sort of a trigger condition that we don't have anything for at the moment, as far as I know. And this is leave only a trail of bodies.
Yes. Yes.
And finally, in third, we have as your character is bleeding, as your veins run dry, the river runs red.
Perfect. Oh, wait, we were supposed to clear our throats.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me give it a shot here. Bivouacked, camaraderie stoked as the embers of a comforting campfire. Thank you, Richard Poole. All right, and the one by Acasagraphus. Leave only a trail of bodies. And then, I wanted this one. I feel like veins always trips me up. As your veins run dry, the river runs red. But I do like that one a lot.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all of our top 3. Do we
do we what?
Bonus round.
Oh no, I don't want to do this.
Bonus round. Let's lose dignity. Episode pop quiz. As your veins run dry,
Oh god.
the river runs red.
So this is if Darkest Dungeon were some sort of like BDSM phone sex thing.
That's what you get for getting 3rd place.
Oh man. For any aspiring Wayne June impersonators out there, just in general, I find if you're trying to do an impersonation and do a voice, you should listen to their vowels. Vowels.
Vowels.
Their bowels. Don't listen to their bowels.
Listen to their bowels.
So, for instance, what's the instead of saying, if you listen to Wayne June, instead of saying bodies, like had a AH in it, he says bodies.
Like BAWD.
Yeah, bodies.
Oh, speaking of which, we promised that we would narrate these in our review of Darkest Dungeon.
Yes.
I will be producing an actual review video. But we did want to talk about the changes in the full release and what's still coming out. So am I going to jump into that right now? Or?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So we played quite a bit of Darkest Dungeon on the day it released, and we saw a couple of excellent changes. My personal favorite, and the one that is going to get me killed more often than not, is the advent of secret rooms. Really exciting. You'll also notice the cat and the leg in the background. Cat, leg. That's Tiff. She's participating. So, secret rooms, like the one I live in and broadcast from, are discoverable through critical scouting success, which is a new term to me and probably the whole community in general. But it seems to be when you get that double length scout, then it will reveal any secret rooms in the hallways that you scout. It has to be a double length scout. A normal scout won't do. And the secret rooms have gold and jewels and treasure. I haven't actually opened one without using a key on it. If you use the key, it's worth a lot, is what the patch notes said. So I've been careful to carry around extra keys. But the secret rooms are awesome, and just a fabulous reason to scout more and keep your light high, actually, and to make money off of full light runs instead of just dark ones. There was a lot of skill rejiggering, especially camp skills. I saw they made all the mark skills apply a nice debuff, either dodge or protection percentage, which is really huge because some marking skills were just
garbage.
Yeah, garbage, just less powerful than other ones for no particular reason. And a lot of the camping skills were made useful. They also made camp buffs last a number of combats instead of until you camped again, taking a lot of the emphasis off of camp buffs, and I think maybe putting more emphasis, kind of evening out the balance between the buffs and stress relief and healing, because stress relief and healing is permanent until you get hit, whereas the camp buffs are only for X number of fights. So if you don't need the combat power, it's better to remove stress now, which is good.
And it will change when you decide to camp, for sure.
Yeah.
Super early camps may be a thing that you don't ever do unless you've taken in a really roughed up crew to start with.
Yeah, the early camp, I'm really tempted to camp early so that I can get a high scouting plus so that I can find secret rooms. or not miss secret rooms like past them. But then when I do that, I find out that all my combat buffs wear off before I'm halfway through the dungeon. I'm like, oh no. So I think that's really nice. Also, they added.
I was gonna say, especially it will depend on the mission. In a room battles mission where you have to do the fights, you're gonna want to make sure you don't blow it on like hallway fights. Maybe you might want to clear out as many hallway fights as you can, find the room battles through scouting, and then see what you can do. Whereas other types, maybe you don't care so much about letting the combat buffs wear off early.
Yeah, and note that the non-combat buffs also only last for 4 combats, which is really interesting. I found, I think good scouting on your party is just really key pre-camp, so that you know how many fights you're facing when you go one way and how many the other. And then not getting ambushed. They added in a lot of prevent nighttime ambushes.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that in one of the occultist skills.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 of those skills now spread out across the different heroes, or maybe more. And they're really important because that nighttime ambush
counts
as a combat, and so your buffs are actually shorter. In terms of penetrating into the dungeon. They also added 10% stress onto many of the powerful items. So you take extra stress damage when equipping, say, like the legendary bracer, and a bunch of other things got like a little more stress for wearing them. There was a graphics improvement and some extra sounds added in the game. I found some stuttering. I know they've been addressing those issues. They've had 2 hot fixes since full launch, and I'm sure they will, although last time I recorded I still had some stuttering. They added in a lot of classes bring in free provisions now. You can't sell the provisions, but like the Crusader, when you equip a Crusader, you'll get a free holy water. You get 2 dog treats with the Hound Master, which is kind of overkill because the dog treats are really good.
Yeah, although so they last for how many rounds within a single combat?
3 rounds, but they're not as. They used to be way more powerful. It was 1 that gave you like 300% or like 100% damage. Now it's 2 that give you 50% damage and like 10 accuracy, but they're really good. And having more but weaker bonuses is actually better, I think.
Right.
They added in enemy attack icons. So if an enemy uses an attack on you, then every time you encounter an enemy of that type, you'll see the attack down in the bottom right. And now you'll see like a debuff icon or a stress icon or a stun chance icon. So you'll know what things a enemy can inflict on you if you just hover over them.
Yeah, that reminds me sort of like old school, like Diablo 1. Once you killed a certain amount of a particular enemy, it started showing their traits beneath them.
That was so awesome.
Which I really liked, and is something I would almost like to see that back in Diablo 3. Just the regular old enemies, not the ones that already show you their descriptors, but just their regular traits after you kill like 5 bajillion of them.
Right? It'd be good to know their resistances, but it might be that they're all boring now.
Yeah, maybe.
Diablo 1 wasn't well balanced, and if you went like a lightning build, you were screwed because like 50% of the enemies had lightning resist. You didn't know it.
Yeah.
But they had that for Diablo himself. You know,
Yeah,
every time you killed him, it racked up a counter so you could eventually see his stats. Let's see. They decreased the chance of getting perks and diseases at the end of your quests.
Yeah.
Which it used to be really common, and now not so much, which is nice.
One thing that I mentioned in my most recent Darkest Dungeon video, so obviously they might not want to do this in addition to that reduction of the chance. I was thinking that if there were a 1 or 2 time cost Plague Doctor camp skill that reduced the chance of you getting diseases at the end, that would be, I think, better than what they have done, because that way you can make it less likely.
Yeah.
But if you are unprepared, you don't have that skill, you don't think about it, you don't take a Plague Doctor, then it is more likely. So it becomes more of a large-scale strategic choice about bringing a Plague Doctor.
Yeah, I like that, especially because they gave the Grave Robber, who before the launch had the ability to cure disease on herself only.
Yeah,
now she's got a really cheap cure on herself and someone else, which is like, it's almost better than the Plague Doctor. Now, the Plague Doctor has an ultra cheap, it used to target other people. I feel like it targets yourself now. Maybe it targets other people for 1, which is really pretty good. Let's see. So the Darkest Dungeon itself was unlocked. I took a crack at it.
Yeah.
And I got brutalized, losing 2 heroes, which is as many as I've lost in the, I don't know, like 50 episodes leading up to it or something.
Well, I mean, so you lost 1 hero in the normal fashion, but
to combat.
Tell them about the other fashion that you lose heroes.
So when you go on a Darkest Dungeon mission, and these missions are above champion, they're rank darkest, and they're level 6. Yeah. Then if you have to retreat, you lose a random character who is still alive.
And that means retreat from the quest.
Yeah, if you don't finish the mission, if you have to retreat from the mission, because I did actually retreat from a combat, but then I realized I could not go on, and I had to retreat from the mission after already losing someone, and it cost me another level 6 character, so it was rough, but did learn a lot about that. I won't spoil it for you here, but if you watch my series, you'll find out more.
Yeah.
They also unlocked New Game Plus. So once you beat the game, you can start a New Game Plus. You will not have the option to enable some of the like easier things like reduced crit damage from enemies, and I forget what the other ones are. You can jigger with some things in the options, but no longer on a New Game Plus. Has to be strict as possible. You are facing tougher enemies, and you have a 91-week time limit, and you must have less than 13 deaths before you win. So, sounds quite challenging. I think I could do it after having beat the game, but if I were currently playing it without the knowledge I already have, you'd get roasted. That's brutal.
Yeah. One thing I don't think you mentioned this about the Darkest Dungeon is that the layout and discovery of the layout itself are entirely different from every other region.
Yeah, it's intimidating. My first trip in there, I was like, oh, well, this looks easy. And then I was like, oh, God, this is the opposite of easy looking.
Yeah, so the only thing you'll see as you enter is this single extra long hallway and then a room at the end of it. And what you realize is that upon defeating the fight in each room or just getting to each room, you discover that there's a branching path, and then it shows you just the hallways branching off from there to the next rooms. As far as I can tell, there's no scouting that you can really do.
I don't think so. I don't think scouting is a thing. The hallway battles seem normal, but the fact that you don't know what the dungeon layout looks like in advance is a big hit strategically.
And then, of course, there are also new enemies. Not just... So there are new versions of enemies that you've seen before that have slightly different animations, slightly different names for their abilities, and the abilities do different or just more of the same.
Bit more serious.
Yeah, and then, of course, there are also new enemy models as well.
Oh, yeah. There are completely new enemies in there. They are brutal. We didn't see anything new in any of the other areas.
In terms of models or abilities, no.
But you never know. And, of course... one more thing about that. The Ancestor Journal pages. These you can find anywhere. They take up a slot in your backpack. But you can review them when you take them back to town. And you can completely collect, I think, 24 of them to get a better idea of what your ancestor was up to. And obviously it's all bad.
Yeah, the answer is no good.
No good. He was a total jackass.
Yeah.
But, what were we going into? Sorry. That one. Oh, things to come. So, the things we haven't seen yet that we know are on the horizon are also quite big. There's the merchant class, which they're still balancing, and I assume, since it's probably a utility class with a lot of, kind of integrated into game mechanics skills, Would be my guess. I don't know. Maybe they just throw money at people, a la Final Fantasy VII, like. But they're balancing them, and of course, I would rather have a balanced class than a class right now.
Right.
Town events. The one town event we saw, I think I already talked about it. All the plague doctors, they can't go on adventures, but they earn 2 resolve XP for staying at home for a week or 2.
I mean, in a certain sense, that's not even a penalty because you might not have taken them on an adventure anyway.
Yeah. Although 2 is really a low amount.
That's true.
And 2 is the least you can get from the shortest apprentice level mission. Still, yeah, it lets you level up people faster. Oh, one thing about the Darkest Dungeon, if you retreat, your next mission you get double resolve XP for. To help you catch back up. Like, I took advantage of that after having to retreat, and I immediately leveled up a whole party of level 5s to level 6 on a extra long veteran mission. Yeah, so town events, really looking forward to those. Will really shake up your game, I think. And and of course the Musketeer class, which I believe is female, although some of the artwork I saw was a male one. Basically a duelist from the nobility of the Darkest Dungeon world, an untested youth of the nobility. The Musketeer is, of course, a Kickstarter reward for people who kickstart at a certain level. Presumably, they will have early access to the Musketeer, and I bet he'll be released probably for free. But you never know. Maybe an expansion. Like, you got to give the kickstarting people their due. They caught a lot of flack when they instantiated that particular level.
All right.
Because, no one likes to have like a gimped copy of the game. Like, a lot of people got angry.
Yeah.
And they regretted it, and they said so, but they did it, and then they're going to follow through on their promise.
That's good.
So they'll probably release it for free because they pissed so many people off. They've also said there'll be new game modes and updates for free for the rest of this year. And they're popular enough, and I'm sure it's sold well enough that they won't have a problem doing that and eating. So I think that's it for Darkest Dungeon and maybe this HausCall.
Yeah, I don't see anything else on our list. So obviously, we're continuing on with a number of the series that we've been doing. We're just not mentioning those because it's merely a continuation of things we've already said. Mm-hmm. So we'll certainly do that. And things that we mentioned as upcoming in the last HausCall, we're not mentioning again because no new progress has been made on them. But of course, if you want to hear about something that we've said before, you want an update on it, even if we haven't actually done anything, we'll tell you that we're still thinking about it. You can leave that kind of request in the comments, and we'll certainly cover it in future HausCalls.
Yeah. Oh, also, here, I took the tape off my wall. Uh-huh. Note the no tape zone and the cat.
Yeah.
See it move. Okay. Mm-hmm. Just wanted to say. Some people were complaining about the tape on my wall. If you want to know what it said,
Did it say "I love tape"?
No, it said that was the one on my desk.
Oh, right.
It said the letter M, R, ducks, because the pictures are of waterfowl. If you hadn't noticed, so that's the Texan way of saying that those are ducks.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right.
I think that would be EM. M or ducks.
There's only so much tape. It's pronounced Immer ducks.
Immer ducks.
Immer ducks. We're both from Georgia, BT dubs. All right, and on that high note, it must all be downhill from here.
Yeah, and unless you are going to come and shovel the snow out in front of my house and salt the sidewalk, I don't care what you do.